So I'm so glad that you're here because I am going to continue with my Schmincke swatching. And as you know, I have been working off of the dot card for a long time because I have the 48 color set that comes in the wood box, and it's got beautiful colors in it. But I did want to add to my collection. Over time, I do have more than 48 colors already. And I know it seems like a lot, but there's a lot of colors here. And when I look at the dot card, I always think, there are some gaps in my Schmincke collection. So why not do it live with you guys on YouTube and also on the Facebook group? And by the way, congratulations, you guys. The Facebook group is now at 30,000 members. Well done. And so we are moving our giveaways to, first of all, hopefully being able to do 2 giveaways on Fridays, and then also a big giveaway on the weekend, or not the weekend, but the final weekend of every month. And what that is from the affiliate links. So if you are going to purchase any Schmincke or anything that I'm talking about, or you're making purchases on Amazon, please use our group links because that's what funds the giveaways. And it's not a lot. Like, I think they pay us like 2 to 4% to the group, but it accumulates over the month, and we're able to give better and better gifts to our winners, from a whole tube of paint, like not just a small tube, but whenever we can, we do like a whole big tube of new paint, professional watercolor to the winners. Or I would love to be able to give the monthly winner that uses a lot of affiliate links a whole set of watercolor. I would love to be able to do that. So that's my goal there. I don't use any of that affiliate money. I actually keep it on hand for a whole month. And then at the end of the month, I kind of divvy it up amongst the winners. And so that way you guys benefit from it. So if you've ordered a lot of things in the past, try to use the affiliate links for the group page, because that's how we have it set up now. And it also works for Canada, Amazon, and also Jackson's, of course. Jackson's pays us more. So Jackson's, we're able to really do a lot more with the affiliate income. And that's where there's like a lot of professional watercolors and that's where I get all of my personal supplies. So for those of you who might not be on my YouTube channel yet, there is a Daniel Smith swatch series that I'm doing right now, identifying all my favorite Daniel Smith ones that I think are really handy, and also looking at how they react. Like, in other words, you can see this one's a lot more streaky than the Permanent Carmine by Schmincke, which is like absolutely gorgeous, right? Which we're going to swatch today, actually. That's coming up somewhere here, I think. Oh, no, we did it already. All right, we did the Permanent Carmine. So you can see Permanent Carmine by Schmincke as compared to Permanent. Oh, that's Permanent Alizarin Crimson. Yeah, maybe that's why that's really, God, they're so, they remind me of each other. But Permanent Alizarin Crimson is definitely not one that I like by Daniel Smith, because it does streak. And this is the thing, is like, I love a lot of Daniel Smith, like the Pyro Scarlet, great color, the Quinacridone Lilac, great color. And I know this is about Quinacridone Red is actually another one that is a beautiful color, right? And it's very smooth. But compared to what I can do with the Schmincke, the mass tone never streaks, and I'm able to build it up with like 5 layers, which I can't seem to do with Daniel Smith. And I never know what I'm going to get with Daniel Smith. Like, among the whole brand, although there's a lot of things in the range, you never know if you're going to get something that is unable to be re-wet or not. And I think that that's one of the big brand variations between Schmincke and Daniel Smith is, there are a lot of really cool things going on with their granulating colors that maybe aren't in Schmincke, but there's also a lot of beautiful granulating colors in Schmincke that aren't in Daniel Smith either. So they each have some unique things. The only thing I know for a fact is when I look and try to re-wet all of these, if I put them in pans, they don't always re-wet. But yet, when I re-wet any of my Schmincke granulating colors, they always re-wet well, and they're so juicy. Especially some of these, like the deep sea ones, the glacier, the tundras, galaxy, a lot of the shires too. The only ones that are a little more tricky to re-wet are the reds, but this one's not. The Volk Violet definitely re-wets, and that's in pans. If it's coming out of the tube, it's no problem. But as you can see, they're gorgeous, gorgeous colors and just so bright and vibrant with so much beautiful granulation. I happen to like the granulating ones by Schmincke really, really well. Another granulating set that I really love, hang on, I did a whole course on. So the granulating watercolor sketchbook class is on these colors, which are very inexpensive. They are so beautiful. And it's quite a nice range between some aquas and greens and some violets and purples. And I even found ways to make these in pinks, which is really cool, which I'm going to actually add as a class to the granulating watercolor sketchbook class. You guys are going to get a how to make any palette granulate with just the addition of 3 colors. So I'm going to tell you those 3 colors. We're going to work with them in the class, and you're going to be able to change your palette to a really beautiful textured granulating watercolor palette, which I thought would be a really fun addition to that class. Like I'd like to be able to show you, like I want to show you how to make some of these pinks and reds into granulating colors so that you can expand this and not just have the blues and greens, but also have some like really beautiful pinks, very similar to like what we have available in Schmincke. The Tundra pink is beautiful, right? The Volk violet, the Volk red, some of those really bright, brilliant colors. There's only like maybe 2 or 3 really bright ones here. The lilac mist. So I want to be able to expand this range within there at a very inexpensive price. So I'm working on that too. So lots of projects in the studio right now. Also, I'm building an M-gram palette for those of you who like M-gram. So slowly but surely, it's coming together. I posted a progress swatch page of the palette on the group page today. So you can go and look at that and see how far I got with it. So now onward to some swatching. We're going to look at the pinks, and we'll put the Daniel Smith away. They have some beautiful pinks too, but I really, really love my Schmincke pinks. So they have a nice range of pinks. The ones that I have in this kind of like tone, like so Perylene Violet, technically violet, Perylene Maroon, more red, Scarlet Red, love it. So as we get into the pinks, I actually have basically these 3 in the pink range. And typically that's all I need. However, other than Tundra Pink and Potter's Pink. So I have Tundra Pink and Potter's Pink, and we're going to swatch those today. So what else do I need in this range? And that's why I think this swatching today is going to be really handy, because I'm going to look for something, and I'm going to look for something to complete that palette out and make it even more vibrant and beautiful. And I thought you might like to know why I choose the color and how I make the decision. Maybe that will help you. Okay, so looking at the dot card, and by the way, I'm going to be using the Princeton Neptune 1/2-inch wash brush. By the way, Princeton has 3 watercolor series, 2 new series and 1 very old series. The very old series is the most known about one because it's the one that came out first, and it was always on sale. There's a reason why it's always on sale. It's Velvet Touch, and it's a mixed media brush. It does not hold any decent amount of water, and it's stiff as anything. Now, the reason why is because it's mixed media. It's supposed to push gouache and acrylics around the paint. But can you use it for watercolor? Yes, you can. The problem is you basically don't get any of the good properties of watercolor. You can't really encourage granulation. You can't get really nice even mixes. It will streak because there's just no even distribution of water in this brush. So you end up with soppy messes or dry brush. And I think that that's a big struggle. So if you're buying Velvet Touch, I would use your Velvet Touch for removing color rather than adding color, because or maybe a very small shadow or a glaze, because it's just such a stiff brush. The 2 the two brands by Princeton that they established for watercolor brushes are the Aqua Elite line, which is like synthetic sable. So it's a little more pliable than the Velvet Touch. It comes in a wide range of brushes, and they have sets available. So they would be the ones with the black handles. I love them because they give you really, really even glazes and washes. This is for not a lot. This would be more color and less water. So you get a good water control, but more color, less water. So you're going to have a little struggle with the even washes. You'll have to do it in very light layers like I do on the dot card, and then like go over it and go over it. But I'm going to paint with this one today because the other series is the Neptune series. And the Neptune series is the top of the line of watercolor. So the other one is kind of mixed media and then sable. And now this is synthetic squirrel. A lot of people think this is too loose, but they're actually not. It just depends on the brush. So they have these really beautiful sea glass handles on the flats, and the rounds and all the different other ones that they have are in these gorgeous, like kind of wood tone with gold. So these brushes hold a lot of water. So that it's an equal distribution of water versus color. So you're going to get brilliant colors, bold colors with enough water so that you're not constantly having to reload your brush, and less streaks. The only thing is if that you don't learn how to use the brushes, you might get blooms if you use too much water and you don't have enough control and you don't have enough paint. So it's really good to learn the techniques and just master those. But these are so good. I love these brushes. So a lot of beginners will really fight me on this and say, "Oh no, I use Velvet Touch," but they don't realize that these are the ones that were developed exactly for watercolor. So they're going to give you the best results possible with less struggle. I'm not saying you can't get the other ones to work. Yeah, you totally can. But it's why struggle so much when you don't have to. So magenta is one of the first ones that I consider in my pink range. Okay. Well, actually, no. Permanent carmine I do too, but I think I just followed the dot card too much. So permanent carmine would be my first leaning pink, and I absolutely love this one. It's PV19. I use it for everything. The only permanent carmine I like equal to this is a White Nights carmine. It's gorgeous. It really is a beautiful color, and it paints well. So it's this one. You can go with either, but this one is really beautiful. But they're two different pigments. Carmine by White Nights is PR 171, which I'm really not familiar with, to be honest with you. It's a red, but I love the way this paints. This paints. So because they have the same name, I associate them together, but they're actually two different colors. The Permanent Carmine by Schmincke is entirely light fast. The difference is it has this beautiful light pink that I can make into a granulating pink that is bright and bold. And the Permanent Carmine is the one I use other than the magenta to brighten up my mixes. So you get, when you want, like say you have a palette that looks like this, like the M Gram palette, where it's really moody and there's not a lot of brightness, right? The brightest I could get was like these oranges by adding Pyrrole Red to Azo Yellow. And past that, I really couldn't get any brights. But if you bring in Magenta by Schmincke or Permanent Carmine by Schmincke, you will get bright pinks. And that's how you do that. That's how you like really brighten up your mix. So if you want, like this Sennelier set that I have has really bright, bold colors in it. And I love that for florals, but I only get that because of the colors that are in the choices, right? So same thing here. I would have to add a color from Schmincke into my M Gram in order to get the brightness out of the set. That's what I use magenta and permanent carmine for. They're both great and they're light fast. So as opposed to opera pink or any of the opera colors that you might have that are not light fast and that fade and are like fugitive colors, these are better choices for brightening your watercolor. You know what I mean? Yes. And thank you so much. Don't forget to like over there on YouTube. Good to see the hearts. 100%. It's nice to see you there. Um, okay, so let's go on. So purple magenta is the next one. So I'm going to wet my brush here. Yes, yes. And let's see if we can get the YouTube one a little closer so that you guys can zoom in just a bit more on this. How's the color over there too? Is it too bright today? I'm going to make sure that you guys can see really well. The brightness I can tone down a little bit. Maybe brightness is pretty good, huh? Okay, so purple magenta. So let's just take it off the dot card because I want to see how it re-wets. And typically these re-wet really well. So I just tapped it with water. You saw that. I did not pre-wet this. And oh my gosh. So as you can tell, they re-wet so well. Now you see see all the nice juicy color I'm able to get in a light wash by one little swipe of hard color. That was dried watercolor from a dot card. I swear this brush is magic. It makes everything nicer. So we're going to leave that dry on that purple magenta. And just for fun, I'm going to go over here and just kind of add some of it since it's nice and wet. Look at how juicy that came off already. And I'm going to just start building up a little bit of layering here. Now, what I can do, if you notice with Schmincke, one of the qualities is even though this is wet, so this is not sopping wet, but it's shiny wet. You see how wet it is? So it's actually wet enough, just wet enough that if I were to do this, it will bleed down with gravity. But it's under the air conditioning right now, so it is going to dry really quickly. And it's going to go to a damp consistency very quick. So even though this is the wettest brush, I don't necessarily just load it with so much water right away. I'm more ginger with it. And whether for you that means swiping it on your palette first or putting a little bit on a tissue first. Any way you can get to the right distribution of color and water so you're not like having a sopping mess, that's one way to paint with this brush, just one way. So purple magenta, I feel this transparent magenta is a total win for any palette. And as you can tell, we're going to build up the color today, but look at how gorgeous the color is. It's clear, it's transparent, and it's light fast. And it's dependable, right? And it doesn't take much to re-wet it. So why would we not want to go with Schmincke? I don't know. It's great, right? So that would be a nice, I don't think that comes in any of the sets that I've been talking about lately, but I could be wrong. I could be wrong. So quinacridone magenta, where is that one on here? I cannot find it. So strange. Sometimes, maybe it's not on the dot card. Maybe I have it somewhere else. Let me see. Do I have it in my own kit? Nope, I don't know where it is. Quinacridone magenta. There's quinacridone red. This is going to be one of those days, isn't it? Oh, no, that's the regular magenta. Okay, well, we'll skip 369. It's supposed to be here. Maybe I wrote, oh, there it is. Maybe I wrote these down when I was tired. Probably, because I'm a night owl. Quinacridone magenta. So first swipe from a dry color, and you can dilute it out to this gorgeous violet. Now, do you notice how I'm not working really hard? I just want to point out again, since we're doing kind of a brush review, and I'm showing you why I like the Neptune over the Velvet Touch. You see how that I didn't have to work for it at all. Not at all, right? It's gorgeous. And let's just grab a little bit more. And I haven't re-wet my brush. It's still working for me. and it's not out of control. So people who are like, "Oh no, those brushes, they're too hard to control." Not out of control. It's really the user. If you have a good watercolor brush, you want it to do as much as you don't want to outgrow it and you don't want to struggle with it. The struggle would be if you didn't know how to use it. I'm going to go back and I still haven't loaded this brush with any more water, if you notice. And I'm able just to keep adding and building layers. Now, this being a semi-transparent color, amazingly enough, it goes very gingerly, and that could be the dot card. I would imagine if I had a tube of paint here, it would just be like going crazy on the color. But still, guys, this is such a beautiful color. Wait, let me get it there for you. See it? So those last two, stunning, right? We have quinacridone violet and purple magenta. Look at that regular magenta. Perylene violet is a gorgeous color too. Perylene maroon, madder red dark, and permanent carmine. All very different colors. And if you are a collector like myself, oh, you know what I just did? I just put this is going to be fun. Okay. I just put the wrong color in the wrong box, but that's okay because we're working with Schmincke. So you're going to get to see Schmincke at work. So I made a mistake, right? Well, let's just wet it and take a towel and wet it again. And this is a staining color, but I'm going to be able to fix it. You know, I've had one of those days today. Okay, so I'm going to bring it back without a lot of scrubbing. That's good. We'll let that dry. And we'll put it where it's supposed to be. Okay. There we go. It only occurred to me it was the wrong color when I saw the little code because I was like, wait, that's not the right. It's not that one. Okay, so let that dry. So let's do quinacridone violet now that we're there. It should be really similar. Yeah, it's very similar. This is just a little more vivid. So I'm going to, you guys see this? There we are, fixed. They're very, very similar, the two of them. Lucky for me. And then going back to, so I would say quinacridone magenta is more pink in the mass tone, which we might not get from this dot card because the dot card is really like, there isn't a lot on the dot card. So I'm just going to kind of try to get out of my brush whatever I can. And then we'll have to wait till the color comes in because I have it on order. Quinacridone violet, I might be able to get more out of that because the dot card gave me a little bit more. But keep in mind, like I already did this with the dot card. So one's more pink and one's more violet. So we'll let this dry. Potter's Pink is one of my favorite ones, and I love the Potter's Pink by Schmincke. It's really beautiful and granulating. It's right here. I only have a tiny little bit here, but we're going to work with it because I ran out. I've already used all of mine, unfortunately. It's on order. It should be here in a few days. So in a light wash, you can see it gives you a really beautiful granulation. You can add Potter's Pink, this one, to any color. It's a very beautiful, like neutral pink color. It's not really leaning, like some of them lean one way or the other. Another really good one, though, is by Roman Schmal. Is another one that I like very much. So Potter's Pink is actually used in the super granulating sets. They use it as a base for Tundra Pink. So the Tundra colors have some Potter's. I don't know that the dot card is going to give me much more than that. It is normally a lot more pink. So the one that I'll pull out the swatch of the one that's really similar to it. See. I have so many swatches on my desk right now, and I'm missing one of them. Must have fallen. There it is. Okay, so this is the Potter's Pink right there. It's really beautiful. See how like much more bright it is? It's just the dot card didn't give me enough, and I literally can't find my Potter's Pink pan with what I had left. I can't find it anywhere, but I did order some. But yeah, it's gorgeous. I'll try and get you as close to this one as possible, and maybe I can get what's left here off of that. I wet the dot card so I can maybe get more. But can you see where it's going? It's really pretty. It's got a very even granulation. It's a beautiful pink. I don't think you guys can see it as well through that camera because that camera looks a little bit washed out, just a bit. On the Facebook group, I'll try and adjust the light. I think you guys can see that more because that's with my cell phone camera. Okay, manganese violet. Now, for me, manganese violet is a staple. Rewetting from the dot card. It's a beautiful shade of purple. This shade of violet is granulating. It's made with PV16. So for those of you who are new to watercolor, there are a lot of different PV16s. So I'm going to rewet it from my own stock because I have more here. And it just gives you a bold, beautiful, granulating hue. And you can build this up, and on top of it, it's got transparency. So you're not going to get that creaminess. I did have a question from one of you guys asking me about Kuretake and was it Kuretake and Holbein? The reason why I don't use Kuretake, as cute as they are, and I love those pans, I do have Kuretake, like I have the golds. I like the gold sets by Kuretake, but I don't use the color sets ever because they drive me crazy. They're more of a gouache to me than a watercolor. So, I do watercolor and I love the transparency of watercolor and the brilliance of watercolor. The problem with Kuretake is if you work like I do, where I'm building up color, it shines. There's a point at which it just won't take it anymore, and it literally is screaming to me, leave me alone. It's a different kind of watercolor. It's meant for Japanese painters, like a different technique, I should say. So that technique suits a really nice creamy watercolor, and it works. And I'm not going to say it's not beautiful. It's beautiful, and it's really inexpensive. However, you're going to notice, you see the shine on these colors? You see how shiny they are? So in order to get the mass tone on the color, it leaves you with this gloss. That's not what watercolor does. Anytime you're painting with watercolor and it leaves you with a shiny finish, that would be like a filler or something that they've used in there. Like these, I think, are dye based as well. So they're more like Mission Gold is more of a dye based. That's why they're so bright, but they don't shine in the mass tone. And that's why I prefer Mission Gold for beginners rather than Kuretake. But then the cream of the crop is Schmincke. They will get you that transparent, beautiful brightness. Like look at the orange. The orange is okay, but not nearly as bright as the transparent orange, right? It's very washed out. And if I go any darker, you can already see the layers are shiny. So that's the problem with Kiritaki is, yeah, they're really inexpensive, but you're going to deal with shininess if you want a mass tone in the color. Yeah, so that's why I don't use them. I did experience that with Holbein, and I experienced it with Rose Gallery. I don't know that Rose Gallery is necessarily as creamy, but like to me, that's not real watercolor. You know, like when it does that, it's not supposed to have that property. Just FYI. That's my categorizing. You know, I'm not saying they're bad. You're going to like them. They're, you know, why not? You can try everything and paint with anything you like, anything that inspires you, you should paint with. But as far as watercolor, I don't consider them to be a watercolor. They're different. So let's do a cobalt violet hue. I'm going to stop at the blues. We're almost there. So I won't keep you much longer, but if you're interested in seeing the cobalt build up here. Now this one does not re-wet off the dot card well. However, my experience is it re-wets well off the pan, and it definitely gives you a bolder color out of the tube. It is a granulating hue, and cobalt violet is typically has this, I noticed it has this property, but just as you know what it really looks like, there's a difference between the dot card and the tube. It's right there. It's absolutely gorgeous. Such a beautiful color. So, so pretty. Do you have to have this one? You really do. And I'm going to look for it here. Cobalt violet. Here it is. So we'll just go out of my pan. Maybe wet my pan here. So I got some water on my brush. You can see out of the pan, it's way better than what's left on the dot card. There's really nothing there. So you do have this really, really light gray, which I don't really need that represented on my chart here because this goes a lot darker. So I'd rather have like a little more punch of the color there. And stick around, guys, if you want to see these layered, because I'm going to go back and layer them. Ultramarine violet. Ultramarine violet. So this is more leaning towards the blue. So this is going to be the last one of this area. This one re-wets very good off the dot card. It's the violet version of ultramarine. So if you're an ultramarine fan, you don't necessarily need this one in your palette. This is more of a convenience mix if you don't just want to mix it yourself. Ultramarine violet would come off of a mix of ultramarine finest. So you could use ultramarine, French ultramarine, or ultramarine finest. Ultramarine finest by Schmincke is the non-granulating version of ultramarine. Usually all ultramarines are granulating, but this one is the non-granulating version. It's slight granulation, but not a lot. And then the granulating version is called French ultramarine. So if you want it to be granulating in your ultramarine violet, you use the French ultramarine. If you want less granulation, but you like the color, then you would use a quinacridone and the ultramarine finest to get this color. So let's just start building up this gorgeous purple. So I have this that came, I got this one because it came in the 48 wood box set by Schmincke. So the set, I don't think you'll be able to see it necessarily entirely on here, but it's a great big wood box with rails in it, and it's gorgeous. And I love it. And it's absolutely my favorite by far set that I paint with. I use it every day. I keep all of my Schmincke watercolors categorized in it, and then I pull them out and make palettes depending on what I want to paint that week. So I'm just building this up so you can see it's transparent, but it's like a semi-transparent. But look at the shades of this one. It's really pretty. So we're going to leave it alone and let it dry. So for those of you on YouTube, let me get you a little closer so that you can kind of see the tone a little bit better. Very pretty. So we're just working on the layers now. So again, rinsing my brush out, let's get some clean. We're going to go back to purple magenta. Did we have enough? In the purple magenta, maybe. So this is the wash brush by Neptune, using it to build up the layers. And no, it will not bloom unless I want it to bloom. If I want it to bloom, I add more water to an already wet page. But I'm using this as a glaze. So there's a nice light glaze right there. Quinacridone magenta is next. Quinacridone magenta. Oh yeah, I didn't have very much left. I might not have enough. So we'll have to wait to glaze this one until I get it in. Quinacridone violet. We have enough there. Now, this is a very bold but muted color. So what you would see professional artists using this for is the shadows and undertones of florals. So when you see a beautiful like floral design and you see like some gorgeous shadows in there, this is a way to get that. So maybe like the lighter area would be used for the light areas of your painting, and then you would start building the glazes to get that really shadowy look, because drying, it's going to dry to that very, very shadowy finish to give you those lights and darks. And you could also pair it with like a purple magenta. So like maybe do the light in the purple magenta and then mix it with the quinacridone violet to start adding in those beautiful darks onto your florals, into the undersides of the petals. So I'm going to let this dry. And I noticed that I have a little bleeding on this color, so we're just going to blend that out, because I don't really want it to bleed. There we go. Let it dry. Powder's pink, I don't have a choice. I don't have anything left, do I? I have a little bit, but not really. I'll have to do that more later when it arrives. Can't wait to get more. I've looked everywhere for it. Manganese violet. I have my own. Yay. Let's just make sure then this can really get dark. So we're going to just put it on my palette just to see where I'm at. I use this in mixes. I use this alone. I can use it over something. It's wonderful. It's a beautiful granulating violet with a lot of color. Cobalt violet hue. This is the one that will give you, it doesn't give you a heavy payload right off the bat. So if you're doing like skies, like a cobalt violet sky, this is not going to run away with you quickly, but it does allow you to build up in glazes, which is a really nice, convenient thing to have, because you might want to like paint a sky and not be sitting there trying to work the color back out. So this would be great to add the lighter layers first, let them dry, and then go back and not have the color run away with you, but still be able to achieve a really deep version of it. Then ultramarine violet. I don't even know if I have this one. I don't think I have this one because it's too close to the others. And this is one that I would just make myself. In the wood box set, I noticed that they gave me all colors that are like pretty much all single pigment colors, and just a few like convenience mixes. So literally, if you look, PY3, like all of these yellows are all single pigment yellows, except for the Quinn Gold, which is just a double, and I still use that in mixes. And then again, there's a mix. There's a couple of mixes, but then the majority of the ones in the Woodbox set are their best colors from their range. So they've taken 48 of the top most popular colors from their range and they've put it into a Woodbox set so that you can start out your whole collection. So I would say wait till that box goes on sale. I always notify you guys on my group page when it does, and then pick that up and use it as your place to store all of your watercolor and work from it, because it is quite a gorgeous thing to have in your studio, and you can fill it with everything. You can fill it with all of your colors. I'm going to try and get it on camera here in just a second. So while these are drying, because I can't really do much more with them right now, we need them to dry back. So once again, permanent carmine, a must-have for me. I love it. Red Matter Dark, it's not a must-have. It's a mix of PV19 and PR179, but it is beautiful if you like that shade. I can achieve this shade without having it, so it's not a must for me. Perylene Maroon, I'm not a big maroon person. I'd rather mix my own wine colors because I like wine. Or I'll tell you what I do like is I like this color, like Caput Mortem by Roman Schmal. So if I'm going to get like a color that's kind of like that violet, I would go with Caput Mortem by Roman Schmal instead and put that in there. Or I would just mix my own, which I showed you to do in one of the other videos. And also Sennelier has a gorgeous Caput Mortem that is really beautiful and so clear and so just, I love it. It's really pretty. So getting back, magenta, I find that to be a must. I love that color. I use it for mixes. Purple magenta, this is gorgeous because it's just that really bold, bright pink. There is a light, fast version of Opera Rose. Quinacridone magenta, not my favorite color. I would rather have quinacridone violet because it's got so much more payload on it, right? Quinacridone magenta is good, but if you have purple magenta, you have magenta, and then you have quinacridone violet, you don't really need this one. And that's not a good representation of this, by the way, because I don't have enough color on the dot card to show you. Potter's Pink, I love this Potter's Pink. It does get darker than this. I just don't have enough because I'm waiting. Manganese Violet, that's a staple to me. I always use it in mixes and I love it. It's a granulating, really beautiful PV16. Gorgeous. Will never let you down. Cobalt Violet Hue, I have it in my palette and I love it. This is the one that starts out lighter so you can build it up into skylines and then add color as you keep going. Ultramarine Violet, that's more of a convenience violet. I don't find that I need that because I can just mix this with ultramarine and Cobalt Violet and I get that. So I don't really need to have that one, but I do need this, this, and this. I love those. They're so beautiful. So if you haven't seen the previous video that did the yellows and the oranges that are my favorite from Schmincke, let me zoom out for you guys. See if I can zoom out a little bit on Facebook and also here so that you can get a little bit more of a view of the studio. And I'm going to move this so I can show you the wood box set that I have all this in, because I'm going to put my colors back in it. So hang out. Just wait 1 second. I'm just getting the Brio focused. Okay. There we go. Okay, had to get YouTube there. Okay, so this is the wood box set from Schmincke. So this is what I recommend once you get a set of Schmincke and you love it. I recommend that you save for this set and get it when the sale happens, because there will be a sale. And it is my absolute favorite thing that I have in my studio. You guys ask me about it all the time, and I just love it. So it's a really well-made box. I will have this for decades. Seriously, I will have this forever. ever and ever. And it's the most exciting thing that I've ever bought and added to the studio. So it comes with these rails. It comes with one here, 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 and here, filled with colors. So there's 48 colors. It also comes with, I'm hoping I have it here. It comes with a studio palette. There it is. I have it. It's the weekend, so you know the deal. I have to clean because I got watercolor dishes everywhere. I have things I'm filling from new ones I just got in the studio. So it comes with this porcelain palette, and this is excellent for mixing, and it fits right into this section here. What I did is I took it out because I don't need it in there, but it depends on how you work. If you want to work out of this, you totally can. And I added this that I had in another tin. So I just took this from another tin. I placed it in here, and this is where I'm going to put some more watercolor, which right now everything is out because we were talking about the colors in another palette that is the anniversary palette that is out now. So I was going over those colors with you guys. But you can see, just put everything in, and it keeps me all nice and organized. And for what it is, right? And I just love it. I really do. And this is how I just organize. And then I have my Kuretake down here, which is the golds. Sometimes I'll take these out and I'll put more watercolor, but I don't think once I fill this up between my granulating colors and the ones that came with the set, I'm really done with what I need, what I what I want versus what I need from my Schmincke, you know? But I absolutely love it. I can't even tell you what a great investment this was for the studio and also just for me to keep everything organized. And then I have this sheet that I made for the back that shows me what colors are in it. I've done like multiple versions of it, actually. You've seen maybe the ones with the little circles that were really fun too. But yeah, so this is the beautiful set. Again, it goes on sale. I would definitely wait and get it if it goes on sale, unless you are impatient and budget is not an issue. But the cost per pan, if you look at the cost per pan when you do, the cost per pan is ridiculous. So it's literally so cheap if you do it this way. That's how I like to start, is I like to get the wood box set always first, and then I build up from there. I think this is supposed to go in here. You know, permanent green olive. So there's an extra one. Okay, so that's the set that I use. I love it. Seeing it from here looks really good on the Facebook group page. It comes with a palette. It also comes with brushes. They give you brushes too. I think all of the Schmincke wood box sets come with brushes. And just FYI, there is literally a smaller Schmincke. So like this is the really big wood box set, but there is a smaller one that has tubes or pans in it. And of course I have the smaller one. And then there's one even smaller that this is the one that I have. This smaller one, which I don't even know. I just keep tubes in it now, but it had like an extra rail and some watercolors and stuff. So I took them out of here and I put them in here because I just really want this whole thing organized. And then I use this when I'm going to go paint somewhere, or if I'm going to like just set aside some colors that I want to play with, or some new ones that come in, you know what I mean? So that I can share them with you guys. But yeah, so there's one that is this size that is also a great one to have. So maybe if you don't have the size for this and you don't need like all the bells and whistles that this has, look for the smaller box, because this is a really, really great one to have as well. Okay, so guys, sorry about the vibrating. My phone is actually going off. The alarm's going off, telling me to get offline. All right, have a great day. I hope you guys enjoy yourself. I hope you learn something. That's what I'm always trying to get you to do, is just open your eyes to all the different colors and things that are out there. And hopefully my explanations kind of like help out, you know, and give you a direction. Again, if you're looking at watercolor, try to get your pans for under $10. You usually can do that on the sales or by buying sets to start with and then just adding tubes. Tubes will cost you more per tube, but remember, out of every tube, you can get like 5 pans or like 7 half pans. So there's a lot of color in those tubes. They're really large. Schmincke has 2 kinds of tubes. They have like the smaller tube, which definitely will make you 2.5 pans. So that's a better value than getting the, yeah, that's a much better value than getting just the little pan, right? The little poured pan. And these ones are the 15 mLs. 15 mLs, they last me forever. Literally, I never run out of these things. Very rarely. I have to like really pour them like crazy and get them everywhere because this is a lot of watercolor in a 15 ml tube. So for those of you not sure about what to buy, I would get a wood box set at first or a smaller set like the Schmincke Anniversary Edition that's out right now for $64. That one's amazing. I gave you an affiliate link for it because it comes with 15 pans of color and like a palette as well. And that'll get you started and then just add tubes as you go along, especially when they're on sale. And that will help you to get your Schmincke collection together at a very low cost. And if you price it out for how many pans you actually are going to get, then if you choose wisely and you choose colors you really will like and use, then you're good to go. You'll be able to paint with Schmincke and enjoy the lovely benefits of this paint while not really spending that much more on watercolor. You know, you get the cost down. Anyhow, I'm saying goodbye again because I have to go and do another thing. But we are going to pick our winners today. So don't forget, if you painted our challenge, you have a few hours left to get a painting up. And I'm going to pick 2 winners thanks to you guys in the affiliate programs that we've established here. It's pretty cool. You've used the affiliate link so much, and there's 30,000 people on the page. So I'm able to give away better prizes and a lot more prizes as well. So in the coming months, I'm hoping to maybe even give away a whole set of watercolor. I'd like to be able to give somebody one of those Schmincke limited edition sets if I could. So I'm kind of like going for that, but we'll see what happens. Anyway, have a great one, guys, and I'll talk to you again soon.